unless Shonen Magazine intends to stagger their break with Shonen Jump, and we do get a chapter next week, and then maybe the week after that is the week off that they'll have, because I know they had last week off, but it'll entirely depend on what they want to do, but I'm pretty sure it will be off this next week, and this will be the last chapter of the year, because usually they'll do week break, week chapter, week break, week chapter, and then occasionally, depending on what's going on with the manga, there'll be like that cycle one more time before they get back into the normal weekly status after the Christmas season, after that whole big break of the year, because that's like the longest manga break of the entire year, and understandably so. So it's very important, I think, for most of them to leave off on a good part for the week, or not the week, but like the year rather. Sorry, because I guess I was gonna say like part of the week, but it's like not weekly in the year. But this chapter, it was neat. It wasn't crazy. I'll say I like the guy with the flying horse. I thought that was cool. And I'm guessing now with this guy, the concept is Arthur is creating the creatures of the mythology in like Arthurian lore, in all these different mythologies. I would assume other countries, considering he's got Nanashi there and probably characters from other places as well. And is going to keep creating them for his minions, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that. That's my favorite probably aspect of the chapter. Like my favorite aspect, I would say probably by far, is just the idea that Arthur is saying like, oh, you guys are gonna go fight a group of the, one of the four knights of the apocalypse, go after them. Here's this, and he gives them some creature. I think that's actually really cool. It feels very classic shonen, that the bad guy is just, he's sending guys after, he's sitting in his chair, and he's like, oh, you guys might not be powerful enough, but just in case, here's this bonus thing that I'm going to throw on top of you. I definitely like that. That was a good aspect of the chapter as well. But the art, I liked that there was a restriction on Percival that was put into play here as well. Granted, they did have a short skirmish against a decently strong guy. Obviously, his danger is in the hacks of his magic, but a fairly difficult opponent nonetheless. So with that fight, and then going into Percival flying them like his whole main cast across the forest, that starting to tire him out, I thought that was a really good touch to put in the chapter as well, because one, it adds a sense of danger because Percival's clearly not at 100%. If he's lower on magic and he's tired, he will be less capable in a fight against these two bad guys. And I like the structure as well, because I would assume both of these guys are stronger than the last guy, but they're fighting both of them at once. So this is probably going to be a much more direct fight, because the first guy had a tricky ability. I'm guessing this big strong dude is not going to have like a crazy hack, so he'll probably just have an ability that improves how powerful he is in his fights. I will be really surprised if he has more of a tricky hacks than just like a power attack house magic. And this girl, she actually has I would say my favorite ability out of any of them so far, mainly because it feels so early series threat, where it's just like, oh, it's just 4 elements. All she's really doing is throwing one of 4 elements at him. But it's like, when you look at the power levels and capabilities of the main cast and how strong they are in comparison to like the large scale of the Seven Deadly Sins verse, it just gives it an understandable level of threat against these guys, because it, though isn't that strong, it would still be something that would be really dangerous if you don't really have any way to fight back against it. And it is dangerous in how she implements it, but also on top of that, she's a support like attacker. She's in the back casting the spells. They're not directly fighting her. And we got this other guy out in the front who has this really fast horse that can just run apparently on the air and the sea as well as the land. So it's a really good, what I would hope, mid-group fight difficulty, because clearly the last guy is the strongest, and I'm wondering how that's gonna go, because if this fight puts like any good strain like on the main cast, like any good like damage that would carry on to the next fight, I don't really know entirely how they would win, other than some form of setup plot device. And what I mean by that is obviously, I don't mean like in a bad way, but like say Sin undoes his form and reveals who he is, and the addition of that character is able to help them defeat this other dude. So it's a good spot, like I said, to end it. It, like I said, very classic shonen. It feels like if you were watching this is right where the episode ends on, like, episode 22, which is right before right before the weekend going into the next school week or something. Just very early, very core shonen, and I like that though as well. I thought that was very, very nice, like a good touch to end it, given that to give it this as the end of the year, it has a well set tone rather than what I think it could have otherwise been, because it had to have a really, I think, good chapter like this in the same structure, because we're not in a spot where the last chapter of the year could be a like really big hype important part, like anything like that would be a really big cliffhanger, whereas this is obviously like this, Percival's lower on magic. Nasian's is fatigued. We don't know if he's entirely going to be back ready to fight, and they've got these two opponents right here who have some dangerous magics, and well, I would assume he's got dangerous magic. I feel like that's safe to assume. And obviously he's going to be a physical strength fighter. And their biggest physical strength fighter, Percival, is lower on magic and clearly a little bit tired. So not a lot to talk about in this chapter. As I mentioned, like really briefly earlier, Nasian's, as like said, the side effect of using the Ceranos horn is afterwards it gives him fatigue. So that makes sense. That's a good double-edged kind of usage for that technique, which I like. I'm guessing it's going to be one of those things that he could master over time and maybe get rid of them. Like maybe he'll find something that can neutralize that fatigue. But I definitely want to see who's going to be the focus in this next fight, because I feel like my hopes is Percival's not going to be in this fight because he's tired, and then he could heal the people after this fight and get them prepped up for the main fight. Because like even the next fight can't be he's not like a big opponent in terms of the story. He's like clearly a strong opponent. He's clearly very powerful, but it's not, I don't think it could be really that much deeper than he'll have probably like a cool backstory if Nakaba gives it to him, but otherwise just a opponent for the main cast. I'll be really surprised if he has any connection to any of their backstories, but we'll see. Outside of that, I like I said, I want to see who gets the focus for this next fight. I'm guessing Annie is going to be really big in this, and then maybe Donny, because Nasian's is down. I don't know if Sin's going to partake, so there's only so much they can do. Maybe it'll be more of a group effort, because it's very clear, as we saw with Nasian's, it's like if you have the capability to counteract their ability in a very positive way like that, it gives you a very strong advantage. But it also shows that these guys aren't so much more powerful than them that they can't be defeated through like skill, technique, planning. They're not so much of an overbearing wall that there's nothing they can do. These are just hard opponents for them. I believe that we'll see something in the next chapter that's like, maybe they find a weakness in how these guys fight. Maybe there's something about them that they'll be able to do. Like say, the chick that uses the elements. I'll just give an example really quick before I end it. She starts saying a different element that goes with her spell in her staff, but she's using a different one. Like say she's going to use wind, but she uses fire, or she uses sand. And because of Annie's ability, she's able to tell that she's lying, and is able to kind of use that to her advantage, maybe just for like dodging attacks or just timing things. Like there's definitely stuff that I'm hoping they can do. Maybe Annie can unlock like her own magic here. I mean, she doesn't really have one for offense really presented in the series, so I'd be okay with her getting an unlock here, because she had a moment going into this. So if she has like a follow-up kind of very core character growth thing in this arc, like in the follow-up of that mini arc and with Ard into this mini arc with these guys, I can understand that, because Nasian's has this cool poison stuff, Donnie's got his float, we don't know anything about Sin, Percival's got his hero type magic, and obviously his magic items. I think Annie would by very fair, like very fair kind of levels, deserves kind of getting something like that. But we'll see. She could have something like really good that she gets here that could be beneficial in the fight against the, you know, the boss of this group. Because like I said, they can't, like, this guy can't be too long of a boss fight, considering there's nothing about him right now presented I really can see that is important other than power levels. He looks cool, but I mean, he's got a mask. Maybe when it falls off, he'll be revealed to be somebody important. Who knows? Either way, just something we're gonna have to wait to see. But other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, but from the like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. And I appreciate it. Sorry, subscribe. And I thank you all for listening. Bye.